Here are 7 questions to ask yourself for which the answers might lead to more sales and more traffic in your Etsy shop. I put together this list very intentionally because I wanted to touch on different aspects of every Etsy business, not necessarily digital product ones. And by answering all of these questions, you will be able to tweak and optimize your Etsy shop in order to drive more traffic and ultimately more sales into your Etsy shop. And that's what all Etsy sellers want at the end. And I left the most important one to the end, so stay tuned to find out what is the most important question to ask, in my opinion. Before I jump into this list, I just would like to quickly mention that my course, Passive Income with Printables, is closing in a few days. And if you would still like to grab your seat at 30% discount with the code YouTube, then check out the link in the description down below. Okay, let's dive into the 7 questions that you should ask yourself in order to make your Etsy shop even better than it is now. So, let's go! The first question that you should ask is if your niche is a profitable one. And by this I mean, who is your target customer? If you target people who cannot afford your product, or if you target people who have enough disposable income to afford what you are selling. And this can be applied to physical and digital products as well, because if you are addressing your products to a younger generation, let's say high school or university students, they might not have enough disposable income to afford your product. But on the other hand, if you're addressing your product to another economic class, and by this I mean high earners, for example, people working in IT or small business owners, you have a higher chance of bringing in more money into your Etsy business. And let me give you an example here. This college student printable planner might not be as profitable, and I can tell you that it is not as profitable as this business planner right here. So they are addressing to 2 different economic groups. And by making sure that you're addressing your products to the right people, and by intentionally selecting a niche and a target customer that has the options to afford your product, you will make sure that you set up your Etsy business from the beginning for success. The second question you should ask yourself when it comes to your Etsy business is if you are using the same keywords as your clients and your target customers. The words you would choose to describe a product or what name you would give to a product, it might not be the same as the words that your potential clients might type in into the Etsy search bar or into the Google search bar. Because nowadays Etsy is heavily promoting on Google as well, it is really important to keep in mind the right keywords to use when listing your items. And this is where tools like Everbee or Sales Samurai come into the play. Depending what are your needs and what is your research style, you can use Everbee or Sales Samurai to find the right keywords that your clients are typing into the search bar. And you can do this by checking for the search volume. If there is a big enough search volume, that means that there is demand for that product with that keyword. And you have to cross-check those keywords that have high search volume with the keywords that you are using in your shop. If you did your homework at the beginning and you selected your keywords based on these search volumes, then good for you. But if you haven't, and if you find that your shop doesn't get enough traffic, try one of these tools. You can try Everbee for free with the link in my description. If the keywords that you are using in the listing that should be your most profitable one is the same as the ones in the research tool with the highest volume of search. And if it's the same, then you have a winning match there. Now, the third question you should ask is if you have enough listings in your shop to get the Etsy machine and the Etsy algorithm rolling. Enough is a very subjective number because some shops are doing really well with 20 to 25 items and others need 100 to 150, depending of course on the product and on the niche that they are selling to. For example, the invitations and the wedding shops need lots of listings in lots of styles to make it work, but some other smaller shops that I have seen on Etsy, and I shown it to you in my previous videos I think, they are making it work with just 20 to 25, 30 listings. So keep in mind that your niche and your product plays a really big role in the enough number. But the theory is that the more items you have in your shop, the more chances you have of being found in Etsy and the more chances you have of making sales. Of course, if you have a few products that are performing really well, you can duplicate those and list them in multiple colors or multiple formats. That is a really good way to make your exposure even bigger on Etsy. And if you duplicate these items, make sure that you are using a variation of keywords, and I would also create completely new images for these products. Of course, in the description you would tell them everything in detail, the size, the resolution, the materials that you use if you are creating a physical product, and things like that. But a really clear action step here is to create a list of potential products or potential product variations that you can implement in the next hours or next days to increase the traffic and the exposure of your Etsy shop. The fourth question you should ask yourself is if you have some deadweight products in your shop. And by deadweight products, I mean the ones that don't get any visits, don't get any favorites, don't get any clicks, things like that. Those products are deadweight because you charge that extra 20 cents when they get renewed, because they haven't sold. Go through all of your listings and mark the ones that might be deadweights in that shop. If a listing renewed, let's say 2 times without selling, then it might go on this deadweight list. If you have lots of products in your shops, like I do, in one of my shops I have more than 750, 800 listings, and what I do periodically is that I set my filters to show me the listings that expire the soonest. Then I start to check how many times those listings renewed. If they renewed 2 or 3 times without selling, I will deactivate them and I will start thinking of how I could revamp them. And that's my main point here. After you are done with your list of potential deadweight products, you can start brainstorming of how you can make them better and how you can make them so that they will convert. You can deactivate these, revamp them, the images, the title, the description, the keywords, and then relist them. Or you can start completely from scratch, let those be in the deactivated pile and create a brand new listing with the new materials that you created and done the research for. And if those will not sell in, let's say, 2 renewals, that means 6 months, then you can revamp them again or just completely forget about those, because they will not make any sales in the future if they haven't already. But I wouldn't give a product more than 3 chances. The fifth question that you might ask yourself is if you are doing any experiments in your shop. And by this I mean experimenting with keywords, with titles, with the descriptions not that much, but with images, keywords and titles. I find that these 3 are the most important at the moment, at least in my shops and in my experience. Of course, keywords should be sprinkled in the description as well, but what I like to do nowadays is that I completely revamp one of my best-selling listings and I start experimenting with that. I create a completely new image material with completely new style, but still within the branding guidelines of that shop, and then I put it on to Etsy as a new listing. With these kinds of experiments, you can see what is resonating with today's shoppers and what is not. What keywords are they going for, what description style they are going for, and things like that. It is really good to do one of these experiments at least every few months. If you have multiple product categories, then you can try to rotate through the experiments. Maybe for 2 or 3 months you're experimenting with one category, and in the next time period you will experiment with another category. Because all of our time is limited and we cannot do everything at the same time. The sixth question you should ask yourself is if you are doing any promotion outside of Etsy to generate traffic into your Etsy shop. This is one of my least favorite things to do, to generate extra traffic into the Etsy shop, but it is a thing that needs to be done. The platform of my choice is of course Pinterest. I tried Instagram and Facebook too, but I wasn't that successful, so I stick with Pinterest. At the moment, the traffic to my Etsy shop from Pinterest is down, but I went down the Pinterest rabbit hole and I'm doing more experiments over there as well. And I will let you know how they worked. I would like to do that experiment for a longer time to see if there will be any results. But in your case, you might like to use Instagram or TikTok or Facebook groups. That can be a very lucrative thing to do, to find Facebook groups in your niche and try to post valuable content there. And after you offered value in those shops, you might nudge people to go and check out your listings. But also a very consistent Instagram feed is very useful as well, as long as you have the time for it. What you can do is to batch create all of your content for a whole month and schedule them in Canva. Oh, did you know that you can link your social media accounts to Canva Pro, and you can schedule all of your social media content in advance directly from Canva? If you already create your products in Canva, then it's so much easier to schedule them to your Instagram feed right from there. And of course, if you are into creating short form content, you can create Reels, YouTube Shorts, and TikToks. Of course, TikTok is the rage of the moment and lots of people are on there. But what I find is that you could create a separate YouTube channel for your Etsy shop and then create short videos featuring your products, or long form content if that is your jam too. And the seventh and most important question to ask yourself is if your shop is mobile friendly. Because the majority of traffic for Etsy comes from the Etsy app and maybe from Etsy but on a phone from a browser. I find that the majority of traffic these days comes from there. It is really important to have your Etsy shop optimized for mobile phones. And because the layout is very different, you have to keep in mind that your description will be hidden. Your clients will have to search really hard to find the description of the item. And this is why many people make the mistake of purchasing a digital product when they wanted a physical one. You have to be very clear on your images that you are offering a digital product, and in your title as well. And I will put a clear example right here so you can see it. Okay, so this is a digital planner, so your client will know that this is something digital and they will not receive anything shipped to their house. The images are very clear and very few. I thought that there will be more, but 2 images and the listing video. After that, we can see the price and the title and the average rating for that shop, an add to basket and a quick checkout button. But then there come the reviews. There is no item description and you have to scroll even further, and with very small letters you can see the description right here and it will pop up like that. If you are not an experienced Etsy shopper, then you will not necessarily know where to find that description and what that item really is. So that is why you need to put the most accent on the listing images and on your title. And of course the tags, but when you are optimized for mobile phones, those are the most important, the title and the images. So yes, those are the 7 questions that you should ask yourself if you would like some more traffic and some more sales in your Etsy shop. And because I want you to take action and ask yourself all 7 of these questions, let me know in the comment which one will you implement in the next 2 days. I want to give you a deadline of 2 days to implement at least one of these in your Etsy shop. And let me know in the comment, of course, which one will that be. Thank you very much for watching this far. I really hope that you found these questions very practical, because I wanted to make this video very action-oriented so that you can take action as soon as possible. And what other questions you think I should talk about when it comes to optimizing Etsy shops. Don't forget that there are a few more days to enroll into the Passive Income with Printables course with the 30% discount using the code YouTube. And hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you will never miss another video in which I talk about digital products, making money online, making money on Etsy, and all the things related to that. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!